on some video. So let's go to the Sacred Valley, Valley of the Gods. And here's Hathor. Here's the Hathor Formation. So anyways, I wanted to talk about, I found some new insights here the last few days. Pretty interesting. One is the R that was seen, I've shown before on the mountain here. I don't think you can see it, I can alert it, but it's right up here. And so the video I got, you look up this valley here, it's right up in here. Anyway, so that R is it's on Amun-Ra right here. It says here. Viking ruin symbol for R is means journey, and a couple other things along that line. And so this valley here, the lesson that's out here is to everyone should follow the alchemical pursuits and produce gold out of lead, or ascend to a higher consciousness and be closer to God is the whole story here. And that seems to be the story throughout civilizations. You start getting right down to it, all the stories, and no matter what continent you are talking about the same thing. And so in the Viking ruin is R. On the globe, I've shown before with the Elgis sign on it, that's personal protection. The same thing, raising your consciousness. So the Vikings show it. The gods that are here, somebody talked about this area a lot. Obviously the ancient Egyptians did. Amun-Ra, the ram. Up here the valley is Set. Let's get above here so you can really see it. So here's his eye right here. Here's his snout. There's two square ears that are set back behind his head, and you'll see that's what the symbols look like. Here's Anubis, short mouth, eye, and the two ears. And then right up here next to Anubis is Beset, here, the feline and the cat. You gotta get in the right view and perspective to see these here too, but that's there. There's a few other ones out here. Thoth, the Atlantean is right here. Ibis bird, it's not an ibis bird, it's a volcanic slide block, or geological slide block. So, and he has really been humanized. But here's an ibis bird shaped head, snout, curved. So he isn't a living person, or a living being. That's a geological slide block. But the stories about him are aspects of God. Same thing with all these other ones. These glyphs, super glyphs, are shown to talk about the aspects of God, and stories tell through time. Osiris his story is about dying and then being marrying Isis, or the feminine. The male meets the feminine, the virgin feminine, and produce an offspring, or reborn with Horus. Horus is the reborn Osiris. So that story has been told a lot through time, through many religions. The names are changed. Recently the Hathor is also a sacred cow, and that's the mother of all things, the mother of the gods, the mother of everything. And depending on the legend you read, the story you read, but so Hathor is the divine cow. She's also known as other names too. Sekhmet is a form of Hathor. Sekhmet was Hathor was asked, or Ra had Hathor teach. He was mad at humankind for not respecting him and obeying him, and he wanted Hathor to punish him and kill him. So Sekhmet was formed from Hathor, and it was the fierce lioness, and she started killing everyone, and it wouldn't stop. And Ra had to trick her with red water, beer to make her go to sleep, to get her to stop. A calmer version of Hathor and Sekhmet is Beset. Up here is the feline. And then there's also another one that I just read that's Weratz, I believe is the name. It's a cow goddess too. It's got more colors on the cow's hide, but it's got the solar disc above the horn, between the horns as well. And funny thing is that her name also means great flood. And Isis, as a later version of Hathor, and Isis, and the same as this Osiris in this valley, is the ascension, ascending to become a higher person, a higher consciousness. So enlightenment, Isis is enlightenment. And so this other Hathor, her name is Great Flood, goes with the Atlantis story. This is the A word that most people never talk about. Academics never do, for sure. But so here goes my Atlantis story. Is the Thoth has always been known to come from Atlantis, with the Atlantean. Here is Thoth. All the gods are not from Egypt, and that's in all the stories. They're not of Egypt. They're from somewhere else. They're from a faraway island in the west. Well, island also means a faraway place that's hard to get to. Doesn't have to necessarily mean it's an island of land shooting through the water. So this is far to the west of Egypt, and everybody knows that Atlantis stories from the Greeks. Solon started the story about, and he heard from the Egyptians that the Atlanteans were overcome by a great flood. And they talk, I don't know why they talk about the concentric rings being an island, but I think that's maybe mistaken. But there's more to hang your head on than that story to try to find Atlantis. I would try to find the gods. And this part of the story is that the Atlanteans were overcome by a great flood. And that story's in a lot of religious stories. And Hathor, another form, her name means great flood. So Hathor's and Isis are all about enlightenment. So possibly the Atlanteans were overcome by enlightenment and ascended to a higher consciousness. and then travel throughout the world to spread the word and learn from all over the globe. So Atlantis didn't sink in the middle of the Atlantic or in the Mediterranean, but is this North American island, faraway land to the west in Arizona. So I don't. That's my Atlantis version. And here is the Valley of the Gods.